Hello everybody, Excalibur here, and welcome to What's the Combo, episode 11. This time we're going to be looking at Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. Yes, again, but this is a multicolor. It's not a mono colored deck, and also Birthing Pod, which enables getting Kiki-Jiki. Let's take a look at what we have. Well, Kiki-Jiki is the main deal. We're talking about infinite combos here, and how we can utilize Kiki-Jiki to make lots and lots and lots of something. Birthing Pod is used to ramp up to get Kiki. So you pay 1 and a friction green to sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost. Put that card in the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Now, that's all well and good. It's a one-time thing, and if you can untap it, you can do it multiple times. But you do it when you have something that costs 1 out, like, say, a Birds of Paradise. So you bring out a Birds of Paradise, and you sacrifice it. And you go and you look for something that costs 2. And then you sacrifice that on the next turn. Bring out something that costs 3. And then so forth. So, you want to ramp up until you get 5, so Kiki-Jiki can come out, and Kiki is the enabler for everything here. So I put in a bunch of things that actually work off Kiki-Jiki in the colors of blue, red, and green, because that's what the Kiki-Pod works off. Green because Birthing Pod, well, I'm thinking EDH, but Birthing Pod can be put in any deck because you can pay 2 life instead of a green for that. But I put in a couple of green, like Thragtusk. So when it enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. When it leaves the battlefield, put a 3/3 green beast onto the battlefield. So this guy gives you something when it comes in and when it goes out. And when Kiki makes a copy of it, you're going to get 5 life from the token. And then when the token dies at the end of the end step, you get a beast creature. And that's pretty awesome. If you have something like Warstorm Surge again, you're going to be getting some damage going out. It's going to be 5 when he comes in, and then you get 3 when the green beast comes in. You have Murderous Redcap, which he is going to really be a pain. Because what happens with this Persist here, you can actually use him twice. So when it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So he comes into play, pow, and he's red and red. Kiki-Jiki, he's going to do 2 points of damage to your opponent, and then you use Kiki to make a copy. Yay! So Murderous Redcap is now, and let me go ahead and grab Thornbite Staff. And it's not a creature, it is an artifact. And let's clear the filter, so there we go, Thornbite Staff. Thornbite Staff is one of those cards that you should have in a Kiki-Jiki deck. It is a standard, so that's something that you should have. Here we go, Thornbite Staff. This should always pair up with Kiki because you can put it out early, and as soon as Kiki comes into play, Thornbite Staff will attach. And whenever Murderous Redcap dies, Thornbite Staff will untap Kiki-Jiki. So Murderous Redcap comes into play, does 2 points of damage, and then you have a sack outlet or something like that, and then Murderous Redcap goes away and then comes back because of Persist. When it goes away, Kiki-Jiki untaps because you made a copy of Murderous Redcap. So Kiki's out, Murderous Redcap comes out. Bam! Kiki makes a copy, so you got a token. That's another 2 points of damage. So that's 4 points of damage to your opponent. You sacrifice the token, Kiki-Jiki untaps, and Murderous Redcap can be copied again. And as long as you have a sacrifice outlet, you can keep doing that. I don't have any one really listed here, but there are a lot of sacrifice outlets in the current environment. So we'll just put Murderous Redcap there. Kitchen Finks is a white and green, and it's being used for the white here because this is technically a red, white, and blue deck with friction green here for the Birthing Pod. You can put Thragtusk in there, but you're better off staying with the red, white, and blue. So Kitchen Finks is 2 white, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and persist. So there's your life gain. It's the same thing as Murderous Red Cap, only it gives you life, and Murderous Red Cap takes life away from your opponent. Now these all right here are infinites. Yep, every single one. If you have Kiki, you don't even need Thornbite Staff. If you have Kiki and one of these hit, you go infinite. Zealous Conscripts comes into play. You untap Kiki-Jiki. Kiki-Jiki makes a copy of Zealous Conscripts. The token comes into play, untaps Kiki-Jiki, and you gain control of it. So it's untap target permanent, or gain control of target permanent until end of turn. Untap that permanent, it gains haste. So Kiki-Jiki keeps being untapped for every single Zealous Conscript that hits the table. Every single one. You can go infinite and kill instantly. Sky Hussar is the same thing, only when it hits, it doesn't have haste initially. It's all the tokens that it's going to have. So, and it untaps all creatures you control. So you bring the Sky Hussar into play, and Kiki-Jiki makes a copy. Boom, untap Kiki. Boom, untap Kiki, so on and so forth. So that's an unlimited number of flying for 3s instead of 3/3. So you do a little bit more damage. Breaching Hippocamp. Breaching Hippocamp can be done in flash, and then you can make infinite immediately with Kiki on somebody else's turn. When it enters the battlefield, untap another target creature you control. Kiki's a creature. Broop, infinite Hippocamps. And you can do that on your opponent's end step. So you can attack immediately with a bunch of Breaching Hippocamps. Deceiver Exarch. Now this guy, in the standard Kiki-Pod, it is these 3 guys here: the Deceiver Exarch, the Zealous Conscripts, and Restoration Angel. That's at least the deck that I saw online. Deceiver Exarch, he can be cast as flash, just like Breaching Hippocamp. And when he enters the battlefield, choose one. Untap target permanent you control, or tap target permanent and opponent controls. So, of course, you untap Kiki and make a bajillion Deceiver Exarchs. Now, this is the cool thing. Restoration Angel. What do you do with Restoration Angel? Well, Restoration Angel is slightly different from all the others, so I'm going to set her aside. She's kind of special. Village Bellringer is just like the Sky Hussar. So when it enters the battlefield, untap all creatures you control. So that's a mono white versus a blue and white. So if you don't have any blue, the Village Bellringer is an awesome way to pull this part off here. So you get an unlimited number of Village Bellringers. It has flash as well as like the Deceiver Exarch does, and the Restoration Angel and the Breaching Hippocamp. So, but it untaps all creatures you control. So you play it at the end of your opponent's turn, and then you make a bajillion Village Bellringers right before your turn starts and attack. The Pestermite also has flash, and you may untap target permanent, or you may tap or untap target permanent. So it's like the Deceiver Exarch. So these 2 are pretty much the same. This guy does 1, this one does 2, and it has flying. That's one of the key things there. So it's got that little bit of whatchamacallit? Evasion. That's what it is. I was thinking the bread principle. Bomb, and then R is removal, then E is evasion, A is aggro, and D is dredge. So the Pestermite falls into the E for evasion, but it's also really good when you have Kiki, because you just make infinite Pestermites on your opponent's end step, and then you attack during your next turn. And if you can keep copies of Pestermite going, even through your turn, if they try to get rid of Pestermite or Kiki-Jiki, you just, in response, make an infinite number of hasty Pestermites. So, Restoration Angel. Why is this one different? Well, it's got flash and flying, just like Pestermite. But when it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-angel creature you control and return that card to the battlefield under your control. So you target Kiki-Jiki. Kiki is exiled and then brought back, Kiki is untapped. Kiki has haste. Make a copy of Restoration Angel targeting Kiki. Kiki gets exiled and comes back. So if you get -1/-1 counters or negative things like I don't know, say pacifism or arrest or anything like that that keeps Kiki from using her tap ability, you use Restoration Angel to bring Kiki out of that state, and then you just tap and make an infinite number of Restoration Angels, which have flying and now haste, and you can attack. So all of these creatures here, red, white, and blue, this is going to be your death squad. I remembered that there was the Sky Hussar that came out, and I forget the set. What set is that? Sky Hussar is from... Oh, come on. Just show me. Dissension. And I think it's been reprinted in Theros or Return to Ravnica. Nope, it's just Dissension. Okay. So, Magic Assistant, get it. It's really good. It has other features. I won't go over it. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on using this in its entirety. But in any case, you've got these guys here that make Kiki combos infinite. It's broken. That's 7 cards, and each can have 4 of. So you could just do Kiki and 4 of each of these and just wipe the board, and you're good. You throw in Splinter Twin, and you can make infinite number of creatures with all of these because, well, not Restoration Angel. She's a special case. But these guys here with the flash and everything, you make copies of these guys and infinite. So that's 6 infinites. And this is infinite only because you can get Kiki out of tight jams. Thornbite Staff goes with all these other guys here. So you use your Thornbite Staff and Kiki to bring these guys back and back and back. If you have a sacrifice outlet, like, I can't think of one, like Barrage of Expendables. Yeah, that would work. Let me go ahead and bring that up. That would be something fun to throw in here, since it does have red in there. So Barrage of Expendables, that's something that you might want, although it costs money. Not money, it costs mana. So it'll get expensive quick. It costs red to sack a creature, but you can use that red to sack a creature to get this off a couple of times if you've got the mana. That's the whole thing. Kitchen Finks gets you a lot of life, and Murderous Redcap gets you a bunch of damage. So using Barrage of Expendables, cast Murderous Redcap, you make a copy of Murderous Redcap, and that's 4 damage. Then you pay 1 red to do 1 damage to the player. On the card Murderous Redcap, it comes back. Kiki-Jiki with Thornbite Staff untaps, and you can see where it's going from there. A lot of stuff. And with Warstorm Surge and other damage boosters and stuff like that, you're doing a lot of damage. So Birthing Pod, when you hear Kiki-Pod, they're talking about Kiki-Jiki plus Birthing Pod. And Birthing Pod is used strictly to get Kiki out, because you can't go infinite with this because it doesn't. Its ability is not instant speed; it's sorcery speed. So you can't put this on the stack. It will be the first thing on the stack, then everything will pile on top of it. But Birthing Pod is one of those things that you cannot activate after it's been activated. So trying to untap it and activate it again won't work. At least in the same stack, you have to have the stack clear and start over again with Birthing Pod. But you use that to bring out Kiki-Jiki, and then you can actually go through and make copies. Now, when you make a token that's a copy of a target creature, you can actually sacrifice that creature because it copies everything, including converted mana cost. So, at least that's how I understand Kiki's ability works. You're making a clone, a copy of it. It copies every aspect of the card. So if you make a copy of Zealous Conscripts, you've got a converted mana cost of 5. 3 for Village Bell Ringer, 5 for Thragtusk, 4 for Murderous Redcap, so on and so forth. When you put out something like a clone or a phantasmal image, it does the same thing. It becomes a copy of the card, which copies its converted mana cost as well, which gives it its color identity. Because even though phantasmal image is like 1 in blue, when it comes into play, it's going to become a copy of something that you want that's bigger, like Kiki or Thragtusk or whatever. The only thing that these tokens don't count towards is devotion and things that count the number of mana symbols, but converted mana cost does work. So you make a copy of something with Kiki, say you make a copy of Deceiver Exarch, you can sacrifice the copy and get the Restoration Angel and go infinite, but you're probably going infinite with Deceiver Exarch already. That's the beauty of these guys here. If you have Kiki in play, these guys will kill. If you have Splinter Twin, which is another card that Kiki-Pod needs, and I think they have it. So Splinter Twin, we'll go ahead and add that up there. Splinter Twin is an awesome card for a Kiki style deck. Anyway, my Kiki-Jiki EDH deck has a copy. You enchant a creature, and that creature has put a token that's a copy of this creature onto the battlefield. That creature, the token has haste, and exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Now it's exiled, it is not sacrificed, so that means that the token is going to just go away. It doesn't trigger any death effects. Kiki-Jiki's, however, does. That's how Persist works. So when this dies, so if it's sacrificed, if it's destroyed, it goes into the graveyard and then comes back with a -1/-1 counter on it. Now if there's a way you can get rid of that -1/-1 counter, like maybe you've got Cathar's Crusade in play, that will, the +1/+1 counter from the Cathar's Crusade will kill that. Or if you've got Melira Sylvac Outcast, which I'll bring her up because she's a pretty cool card, and an important thing for persist creatures. So Melira Sylvac Outcast. This is a really powerful card if you get a copy of her. If you have any persist creatures and you have a sacrificed outlet, you've got an infinite combination going there. You can't gain poison counters, and your creatures can't have -1/-1 counters placed on them. Creatures your opponents control lose infect. So this is where Kitchen Finks and Murderous Redcap become deadly. If you've got a Melira out, then Murderous Redcap comes out, and then you sacrifice it somehow, like to Barrage of Expendables or something like that, and it'll come back, and it'll be at full strength, so it'll do 2 damage instead of 1 damage. So when it enters the battlefield, it's going to do 2 damage on the first time. When it comes back with the Persist, it'll normally do 1. But with Melira, you can't put the -1/-1 counters on it, and if you've got that sack outlet, then you just go infinite with Murderous Redcap or Kitchen Finks, or anything that has Persist. And if those things have Persist and you've got a good sack outlet, Barrage of Expendables is okay, it does damage, but it costs mana to do it. Now, like something like Phyrexian Altar or Ashnod's Altar, if they were available in Modern or Standard, you could easily go infinite with Melira and those persist creatures in play. So if you're doing a strictly Kiki deck, Kiki-Pod, you're going to want some Birthing Pods, you're going to want Kiki-Jiki, you're going to want Splinter Twin because that's going to help you go infinite just like Kiki does, and then you're going to want these 6 cards: Zealous Conscripts, Deceiver Exarch, Pestermite, Village Bellringer, Sky Hussar, and Breaching Hippocamp. Now, as you can see, that's a 5, a 4, a 4, a 5, a 4, a 3, and then 5, 4, 5, 3, 3, 3. So you're getting kind of expensive in Kiki's 5 alone. So you're going to want to put in some inexpensive creatures to be able to ramp up with Birthing Pod to get Kiki out. Unless, of course, you happen to have 4 Kiki-Jikis in the deck and you pull one and you get the mana to do it. That's a way to go. So with this deck, you do not need this. You don't. Murderous Red Cap is nice to have because the tokens that come into play are going to cause damage, but he costs 4. Kitchen Finks is nice to have. He's white, and you gain life. And you're going to gain 2 life every single time. And Persist works. If you've got a -1/-1 counter on it and it dies, then it's going to stay dead. Birthing Pod is going to go in there because it's Kiki-Pod. Sky Hussar is something that I put in there. Breaching Hippocamp is something I put in there. Pester Mite, something I put in there. And Village Bellringer is something I put in there. These are the 3 creatures that are in the deck I looked at, and I think Splinter Twin was in there too. So there are your 4 main creatures for a standard Kiki-Pod that you might find online. I would highly, and I'm going to move Melira out of the way again, I would highly suggest you put these 4 in there too. That would give you a total of 7 creatures that will allow Kiki to go infinite. And 4 Splinter Twins if you can find them, which would let these guys go infinite on their own. Restoration Angel, no, because you can't target angels anyway. Barrage of Expendables is just a sacrifice outlet for your Finks and your Red Caps. Thornbite Staff, I think if you have anything that destroys tokens, like the sacrifice ability of Kiki when it dies at the end of the combat, you're going to want to have that. So I think Thornbite Staff is an important thing to have with Kiki. Thragtusk is just there because of the green here. But if you have green in the deck, if you go multicolor, there are a lot of different ways you can have fun. But Thragtusk is going to do some damage. So if you went red, blue, and green, then Restoration Angel can come out, and this can come out, and then you have a bunch of stuff. But if you get rid of blue, you lose Deceiver, Exarch, Pestermite, and Breaching Hippocamp, and Sky Hussar. Sky Hussar, Restoration Angel, those are the only 2 that go away, and Village Bellringer. So there are a lot of different options you can use. So I think that's about all I can cover. Not much more I can say about this. Splinter Twin is awesome, awesome, awesome. And of course, when you have things like Warstorm Surge or Stalking Vengeance, when things die or when things enter the battlefield, you're doing damage. But those are expensive cards. 5 is the most you really want to go to. And you don't want a lot of them. And you want to get a lot of 1, 2s, and 3s that Kiki can copy and do something with. So, until next time, enjoy playing games, enjoy playing Magic the Gathering. Please like, favorite, and subscribe. It really helps me to know what you're watching. And if you're enjoying it, if you really like what's going on, please leave comments and let me know what you'd like to see next, or what you think I did wrong, or if I explained something incorrectly. I am not a ranked judge, so these are all me just working off of my common sense and my knowledge of the rules. I've been playing Magic since it came out, for the most part, when Revised hit back in 94, 93, somewhere in there. So I've been playing for a while. There's a lot of time in there that I skipped, though, because I didn't have anybody to play with, and I didn't have the money to buy cards. If you could take the time to visit www.patreon.com/ExcaliburZone and become a patron, it's just $1 a month is the minimum pledge. And if you can just give $1 a month, that helps me out a lot, because it's going to give me extra money that I can use for living expenses, that I can use to upgrade my equipment, that I can get more software, I can get better software, I can improve my broadcasts, and it also gives me extra cash for me to go out and donate to charities and stuff like that as well. I want to try and give back to the community based on, I just want to give back to the community. That's all there is to it. So just $1 a month, and so much comes out of that. And if everybody gave me $1 a month, then I could actually do this full time. At least if I got enough people to do so. As always, this is Excalibur, and I am out.